FutureCoder is a free platform for beginners to learn programming. Its main advantages over other learning resources are that it's interactive and engaging, and that it makes learning easy, not frustrating. To see what I mean, let's see it in action. This is the main interface. On the left, you have information and instructions. On the right, you can run code. This is called the shell. You type in a little bit of code and get instant feedback. It's a great tool in general, and it's the best place to start learning. More tools for running code will be added as you advance through the course, as we'll soon see. So, how do you advance? The course is divided into steps. At each step, you need to type and run some code. Here we're told to run 1 plus 2, so let's do that. Each time you complete a step, more text is revealed and you can start on the next step. Once you complete all steps on a page, you can move on to the next page, and so on and so forth. After you complete the first few pages, you'll unlock the editor. This is where you can type in longer complete programs and run them all at once. So, throughout the course, you're typing and running code, and that comes in many forms. Sometimes you use the shell, even in the later chapters of the course, but mostly you use the editor. Some programs are small, others are quite long. Eventually, you'll complete entire projects that span several pages and combine many parts together. Sometimes you write code from scratch, other times you make small edits to existing programs. Sometimes you're just given some code to run, other times you have to figure it out yourself. Being given the exact code to run is necessary when you're learning new concepts and you have no idea what you're doing. But it can easily become a boring, mindless process where you just do what you're told without absorbing any information. To keep you engaged and on your toes, FutureCoder will often ask you multiple choice questions. This makes sure you're staying focused and helps you retain the lessons. But where FutureCoder really shines is when you have to solve exercises. Each exercise describes precisely what your program needs to do. Usually, there's infinitely many different possible answers, but either way, FutureCoder will carefully check that you've solved the problem correctly before continuing. So in summary, FutureCoder is interactive and engaging because instead of passively learning, you have to type and run code at every step, sometimes answering multiple choice questions or solving exercises. You're constantly learning by doing, keeping you interested and motivated, and building up real experience that will stick with you for a long time. But solving exercises can be really hard, especially for beginners. You might get stuck on one problem for ages and go crazy. That's why FutureCoder makes learning easy, not frustrating. This doesn't mean the answers are handed to you on a silver platter, otherwise you wouldn't learn anything. Instead, it's like the difference between having to climb up a cliff with your bare hands compared to being able to use handholds or climbing gear when needed. And when that's not enough, you're given an alternative way to walk to the top. Let's see this in action. Here, the user is told to run some code, but they forgot to use a capital letter, so FutureCoder reminds them that small and capital letters are important in Python. Here's another example where the user is solving an exercise. FutureCoder points out that the user created a variable without using it, which is a red flag. This helps them realize that the name was spelt wrong so they can correct it. These are examples of generic checks that are applied throughout the course, but FutureCoder takes it further. Many exercises check for specific mistakes that only apply to that exercise. For example, here the user has almost solved the exercise, but the last 2 lines are in the wrong order. This is an actual mistake we observed a student making, so we added a check for it. FutureCoder gently hints at the problem so that the user can figure out how to fix it. But most of the time, users need to find the problems themselves, so FutureCoder provides tools to help them do that. This includes multiple debuggers to visualize and understand code. For starters, you can use the standard Python debugger, PDB. Then, there's 3 additional debuggers just 1 click away. Python Tutor is a traditional debugger that shows the relationship between objects and data structures. Snoop is a simple debugger which shows the execution of the program in a text format and highlights how variables change over time. Finally, Birdseye shows how Python breaks code down into little pieces and lets you see the values of every individual expression. Python Tutor is used by millions of students on several different platforms, while Birdseye and Snoop are unique to FutureCoder. To avoid overwhelming the student, these debuggers are slowly introduced at different points in the course. Once they've unlocked them all, they have a powerful and flexible toolbox and can choose the right debugger depending on the situation and their preferences. Another way futurecoder helps students understand problems is with clearer error messages, particularly tracebacks. Here is how a standard traceback looks in Python. It's intimidating to beginners and is missing a lot of useful information. Tracebacks in futurecoder are carefully designed to be more helpful and user-friendly. They highlight the exact operation being executed instead of just the line, they show the values of local variables and other simple expressions in the frame, and they don't cut off multi-line statements. Users can see a more detailed error message which explains the problems to beginners, and sometimes even suggestions of how to fix the error. This way, students don't have to be scared of error messages, and they can find a path forward. But sometimes the problem isn't fixing broken code, it's not even knowing where to start. That's why all futurecoder exercises come with hints, and often a large number of them. These nudge the user in the right direction, helping them think about how to approach the problem. Each hint reveals just a bit of information so that the student gets just what they need and no more, but the combination of all the hints should usually be enough. If it isn't, and the user is getting desperate, they can ask for a partial solution. Sometimes this means the correct lines of code, but in the wrong order. This is called a Parsons problem, and research shows it's very effective for learning. The student still has to apply their mind to the exercise, but with a much lower cognitive load. As a last resort, all exercises allow showing the actual solution, but not all at once. The user can click to uncover one small piece of code at a time, gradually revealing the solution until they think they've seen enough to fill in the gaps themselves, or all the way to the whole solution if they're really stuck. So in summary, futurecoder makes learning easy, not frustrating, by pointing out mistakes, giving you tools to find and understand problems, including debuggers and enhanced tracebacks, and gradually guiding you to a solution, with hints and partial answers. All of this is completely free. You can start right now on futurecoder.io. If you'd like to help us revolutionize programming education, you can do the following. Share futurecoder with your friends. Use the site and give us feedback. Donate to keep servers running. Or contribute code or course content on GitHub. Thanks for watching.